I think we saw two different halves of the match. We knew that in a pitch with the amount of rain that we had, in a pitch that would get, as time was passing by or it would pass by, the pitch would get heavy and more difficult to play the football we wanted. We had to start very strong, and most important was to score first, of course. And I think that the team understood the message. We started the match very well. We knew where the spaces would be. We had to take that middle line of three men on one side and look for spaces on the other, and from there create opportunities in the last third. I think we had a lot of control. We had a lot of control on the match on that moment until up to the 30th minute. We didn't capitalize on scoring, and also we were not very aggressive. Then when we arrived on the last third, it was missing shots, missing spontaneity on the capacity to shot on the goal. And after that moment, the energy dropped a little bit, and the goal comes from a corner. Unfortunately, we suffer again. Goal from a corner, a team that has not, since we arrived in the club, not an history of suffering goals from set pieces, but unfortunately in the last two games we suffered twice. And that obviously had impact on the team, brought us on a negative result. And as I said, we knew that too important to be to score, and it happened exactly the opposite, and we suffered. So the energy to go back on the game was needed, and at halftime we tried to make corrections. We tried to bring that energy, also from the bench, new players. But despite the second half was indeed not so well played, I think. Game was too broken, ball one side, ball the other. We created some chances. When the team that doesn't score, when has opportunities, will always struggle in the end of the match. And we struggled in the end of the match by not getting the result we wanted, and by letting the energy of Golden Arrows always be increasing, by being able to sustain the positive result throughout the match. And our emotionality going the side that is not where we want to be, because fighting for a result, how important it would be to take the points here, not to lose points. And then with the new players entering the team, of course, that are still settling down. But I think we did very good, or quite a very interesting first half. And as the time passed by, the game became more difficult and more uncontrolled. Let's say, it's not what we want. And we are penalized by a result. I think it's a little bit heavy result for what we saw in the pitch.
Thank you, Coach. We'll take questions on the floor.
Coach, besides the result that you have, you are not happy with the result, definitely we know that. But what can you say about the performance of the club, and particularly the performance of the new signings?
Yeah, the result, in football people evaluate the results always. So everybody will say today that Mamelodi Sundowns played very bad, and they said that in the last game Mamelodi Sundowns played very well because we scored 3 goals and we won. I don't see obviously the things exactly in such way, but obviously we relate with the results. We are very, very unsatisfied with the result we get today. Because we think that we have more than capacity and more than football to get another result here. That doesn't take any merit from the team of Golden Arrows. There's nothing to do with that. It has to do with the fact that we believe we could do more. But as I said, the game brought different moments. The moments that we were over, we were not able to capitalize, to score. And in the end, you get always penalized when you don't score, because and Golden Arrows prepare very well the transitions moment, and on those moments they were always threatening. We deal with that, even with extra risk, but unfortunately you suffer a goal from a set piece. The new players, they did their best. I nothing to point. I think we brought Nuno, dropping Marcelo to bring the creativity from Marcelo a little bit lower, close to Teboho, in order to implement the capacity to play in the middle. I think nothing to say. Nuno entered very, very, very well. Then we try to bring Bennett. Bennett is a goal scorer. He's a player that is pretty dangerous. He's an absolutely player that we believe for the future and already for now. Obviously, that is a player that is still very young, but we saw him in the pitch like if he was here for 1 year already, so not discomfortable. Unfortunately, he could have even scored, but he didn't reach the target. But we felt him on the pitch, and when such a young player enters in a team like Mamelodi Sundowns and you feel his impact in the team, it's because he did well. Siki also still adapting, still needing to develop physically a little bit, but already understanding what we want. Motiva is a player that can help, still struggling to get in the best position to be more consistent. But I think that was not because of the changes. We did well, the team got stronger, we could have scored. But football is very pragmatic, or you put it in or you don't. And when you don't, you need to deal with this misfortune of a goal out of a counter-attack or out of a corner. Yeah, and we are in that moment that we try, and it seems that there's always something against. But we are strong and we are resilient. We are capable to move forward, and we will move forward. And it's good that we have already a match on Saturday that we need to state again ourselves and then continue to go.
Afternoon, Coach Sunday from Sokola Duma. Last season, similar struggles against Arrows. You guys picked up a point then and a defeat here today. What makes Golden Arrows such a difficult team to play against, particularly here in KZN?
Look, I could be more polite on the answer, or more strategical or more intelligent, but I'm going to be right and straight. Today, nothing to say. Congratulations for Golden Arrows by what they did. They handled the game, they cope with our aggressivity, our capacity in the first half. They are always dangerous in counter-attacks, and nothing to say, but last year that game had another story. That game we scored more than goals to win. Unfortunately, there was someone that in that game didn't want us to win. That's the pragmatic thing, nothing more.
I think it's September from It Is The Time you said like on those. These days we saw the reports coming out of Portugal about Miguel Cardoso. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing the name right, but just how far you are as a club to complete that season.
No, I think in the next maybe 1 day, 2 days you will understand it. But we said that if we would try to reinforce the team, it was clear that we needed to reinforce the team in the front, and it was a hard work, tough until the last moment, because these kind of players that have such quality, they take it's not easy. It's not easy, and by the history, you know that there's no history of having players coming from Europe in such level and entering South Africa or even the market in Africa. So the business were difficult, and let's see if we can finalize. I think everything is in order to allow us to announce him together with Nuno and together with the players that we have and that we had, and the ones that went for the World Cup. Of course, then when we have all the group, we'll be stronger. Because as you understood from the beginning of the season, Mamelodi Sundowns always struggled in terms of changes, substitutions. It was difficult to reinforce the team from the bench. I think now we will be in a more comfortable position after when we'll gather the group all together after the World Cup where the under-20s, also with the return of the 5 players that went, the team will be placed in a more comfortable position to develop and to face the season. Of course, that it's pity that meanwhile many months passed and games were played, but these kind of businesses are very difficult in order to make them as quick. And probably in the beginning of the market it would be absolutely impossible to bring those players. Sometimes the market in the end gives opportunities, and I think we were pretty lucky, and hard work from the club and efforts in order to reinforce the team and to make the team stronger, of course.
Yes, Coach, take the last one. I mean, losing a player like Lucas Costa, do you think you felt at some point that you will struggle because of what he used to do? I mean, in those advanced areas, and then one of those guys that you just signed from Portugal will be one of them earmarked as a replacement to Costa. Look at what Costa was doing.
No player. I totally understand your question, but no player will substitute Lucas, because that's not what we are looking for. We are not looking to substitute Lucas. We are looking to reinforce the team that is completely different. Every player has its own characteristics, and neither Nuno, neither Miguel Reizinho has the characteristics that Lucas had. It's a very particular player, but also the other ones are very particular, and the ones we have in the club are also very particular. The team will be, Sundowns will develop to be a different team, probably more collective, even than it was in the past, because Lucas was a player that could solve problems alone. And in this kind of games like today, probably he would help a lot, because sometimes we were blocked and he's capable to find. But that we are not already relating with Lucas. Lucas for us is a wonderful memory, a good friend, but it's past. So the team and us coaches, we don't relate with the past. We just need to understand how capable we are to welcome everybody, to gather the best from each of player and to develop the team in that sense. So that's what we want, and that's what we are doing, and that's what we're going to do. Of course, that getting positive energy from good results is very important in those moments of the teams when they are reorganizing. But I said this job, this work would be for a champion, and probably this will be the most important trophy we'll get this season, is to reorganize this team and make it grow again to a different team that was ever seen, with different players, with different reality. But hope obviously that we can raise the level and be up to the challenges that we have, and the history and the will that we have to do well and win.
Thank you, coach. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you very much.